Hey, what's up guys? Today I'll show you a psychological horror film, 1408 Phantom Horror. Spoiler ahead, watch out and take care. Mike is an author of horror books. He often visits haunted and creepy places to get inspiration for writing. However, as his books are boring and repetitive, his readership has been downsized. As such, only a few fans attend his new book launch, making it a total failure. Upset, Mike goes surfing at the sea. Little does he expect that what is supposed to recharge him almost kills him. Soon he is caught in an accident due to a lapse of concentration and swept into the sea by some powerful waves. Before he is drowned, he is pushed ashore by the tossing waves and regains his consciousness after a while. Mike then visits the post office to collect his mails. Among many postcards he has received, a mysterious one stands out. It reads, "Don't come to room 1408 in the Dolphin Hotel." Mike is enlightened by the line and decides to explore this forbidden place. He calls the hotel to make a booking at room 1408, but he is rejected. The hotel staff's reaction makes Mike even more curious about this particular room. He conducts research and finds out many guests died in room 1408. Mike consults the lawyer of the publisher and learns that the hotel has no right to reject his booking. Backed up by the lawyer's professional advice, Mike makes his way to New York City, where the Dolphin Hotel is located. At the reception counter, Mike requests to check in at room 1408. The staff keys in room 1408 in the system, and it prompts her not to handle Mike's request directly, but to the hotel manager for assistance. As requested, manager soon arrives at the lobby and invites Mike to his office. Knowing Mike's intention, he dissuades Mike from taking room 1408. Manager explains that no one is able to survive in room 1408 for more than 1 hour of time. But Mike is determined to have a taste of its scary ambience and mysterious events. To change Mike's mind, manager presents a bottle of good wine to him. He promises to lend Mike the hotel's internal archives for his writing, as long as Mike gives up staying room 1408. However, manager's efforts prove futile. Having obtained the wine and internal archives, Mike insists to check in room 1408. Without any choice, manager retrieves the key for the forbidden room. On their way to room 1408, manager continues to warn Mike about the impending dangers. But Mike does not buy his smelly man shit. When the lift stops on the right floor, manager refuses to alight the lift, not to mention ushering Mike to the room. So Mike has to step out and walk to the room all alone. He flips through the archives, which contain many gruesome photos of the past guests' deaths that occurred in room 1408. Despite the fact that Mike has explored many other places, he still finds such records creepy. But he is a little relieved when he opens the door. What unfolds before him is a normal room, bright and tidy. Mike does not forget to describe the room's setting and his first impression, making a recording with his mini cassette recorder. So far, everything looks normal. Mike feels rather relaxed, drinking wine on the comfortable bed. He also looks out the window for New York's night view. All of a sudden, the radio in the room plays by itself, which scares Mike out of his shit. Mike turns back and sees 2 packets of chocolates newly added to the pillow. He surveys the room and finds the once messy toilet paper roll has been folded nicely. In terror, Mike records his discovery before he continues to spot other differences. He looks around all the corners of the room and confirms that there is no other people in the room. What has happened is certainly beyond his understanding. Soon the automatic thermostat goes faulty. Mike calls the reception counter and requests a repair. Before the technician arrives, Mike turns off all lights in the room and conducts a thorough check with a tool that detects bloodstains. What is horrible, the bloodstains in the room match exactly with the photos he has seen from the archives. Now Mike knows all the past deaths are never a joke. When he is still in shock, the technician arrives, but he refers to step into the room. Instead, he instructs Mike on how to fix it. As soon as the air conditioner resumes working, the technician leaves. Mike decides to relax by drinking. Unexpectedly, the radio plays automatically. At the same time, there is a digital countdown of 60 minutes. Recalling manager's stern warning, Mike is filled with fear. At the same time, the room is enveloped by some noises. Mike is deeply troubled by the noise, to the point that he cannot even hear things properly. He staggers to the window to escape the noise. But the window shield suddenly drops down, clamping on Mike's hand. The excruciating pain awakes his hearing sense. In order to clean the wound, he walks into the bathroom. However, the water running from the tap is burning hot. Mike's wound is worsened. He backs to the corner in terror and cannot stop cursing whichever invisible force is toying him. In the end, Mike has to throw the towel around the tap and kick it off swiftly. As he returns to the bedroom, the radio plays another song. Enraged, he plugs it off and demands the reception counter to transfer his call to manager. But he soon realizes no one replies to him. What he receives is only a series of advertisements. Mike immediately decides to flee the room. As he hurries to open the door, he breaks the key. He then turns the knob, and it drops. Mike begins to bang on the door to call for help, but to no avail. He then moves to the window and shouts for assistance. Someone from the opposite building seems to respond. Mike begs the man to call the police. However, the man appears to be a mirror image of him, reflecting whichever gesture he is doing. When Mike waves his hands, the man also waves. When Mike shines the lamp at himself, the man's face is also brightened up. Mike then finds the man to be a younger version of himself. Soon after, Mike is attacked and knocked out by a man with his smelly axe. By the time Mike regains consciousness, he tries to alert those on the ground floor by throwing the lamp off the window. What is creepy, the lamp vanishes in the air. On the verge of breaking down, Mike hears the voice of his daughter, named Daughter. Mike backs to the corner and records down his feelings. As he looks up, he finds something that looks like a surveillance camera hidden in the air duct. He is soon reminded of the wine he has been drinking and suspects that he is drugged. At the moment, the TV turns on and a video of Mike's family is played. It is a fond memory of Mike, daughter, and ex-wife chatting at their cozy sofa. Mike watches the whole video with mixed feelings. While he turns off the TV, he sees two ghosts committing suicide in the room. What strikes him is the fat baby's cry in the adjacent room. This gives hope to Mike. If he could hear them, they could hear him too. He tries to hit the wall, but that triggers terrible noises. When the noise dies, Mike picks himself up from the floor, prepared to get a wash. However, he sees his aged father in the bathroom. Father disappears after laughing at him. What follows is blood oozing from the walls of the room. Frightened, Mike studies the fire escape plan and attempts to evade the room through the window. However, after he climbs out of the window, he realizes there are no other windows. Disappointed, Mike has to return to his room. When he approaches the window, a female ghost prepared to jump off scares him out of his shit again. Mike almost loses his foothold and drops off. It takes him quite some time to get back to room 1408. Exhausted, Mike examines the fire escape plan again and discovers that only room 1408 is left on the picture. With no way out, Mike begins to despair and sees his past in a hallucination. It's revealed that Mike used to build a happy family with ex-wife. Sadly, daughter had cancer and passed away. Unable to cope with the change, Mike deserted ex-wife. In the voice of daughter, the room is swallowed by darkness. Mike turns on the light and attempts to contact ex-wife through his laptop. Ex-wife shows up in the video call, but she does not believe in what Mike says. Later, the fire alarm is triggered and water sprays from the ceiling to disrupt the communication. Mike then turns to the air duct, crawls through the air duct, and sees all kinds of strange things. He finds ex-wife in the adjacent room, tending their baby daughter and father. Other than that, Mike also bumps into the first victim of room 1408. Armed with a torch, he moves near to the corpse. Suddenly, the dead jumps at him. Mike escapes the dead by the skin of his teeth and retreats to the room. He hopes to calm down with some alcohol. As he opens the fridge, he discovers manager in it. Mike confronts manager and smashes the fridge in anger. He takes up a Bible to seek peace, but the scriptures are merely empty blank slates. Mike is then tortured by his memory. He vividly remembers how daughter looked forward to heaven before her death, and how he lost his temper after she was gone. Soon after, the fax machine starts to churn out clothes. Mike is freaked out to recognize it as daughter's were wore on her last day. As if that is not enough, the room becomes icy cold, and all furniture gets frozen. Mike does everything he can think of to stay warm. He wraps himself up with a blanket. He drinks to maintain the heat. He curls up on the floor and burns paper to get some heat. Just when Mike thinks he will die in cold and records his last words, he hears ex-wife's voice from the laptop. Ex-wife tells him that she has called the police, and now they are in room 1408. Apparently, the police arrive in a different world. Mike breaks down in bitter cries as he realizes there is no way for him to be rescued. Strange enough, another voice of Mike speaks up in the laptop. That voice persuades ex-wife to come down to the hotel. Mike shakes his head and shouts out to ex-wife to not come. The mysterious Mike on the screen winks at the real Mike. Seconds later, the room shakes violently, and even pictures hang on the wall shift. Mike breaks a picture of the sea and the waves wash him to the ground. Mike is soon drowned and brought to the beach where he used to surf. He wakes up again in the hospital. Ex-wife smiles at his recovery and takes care of him with all her heart. Mike is so touched by ex-wife's love and concern. He shares with her the fearful experiences at room 1408. Inspired by ex-wife, Mike writes a novel about room 1408. Having finished the new book, he visits father at the elderly care center. The brand new life brings hope to Mike. However, when he mails out his manuscripts at the post office, he realizes the post office staffs are the hotel staff. Mike is transferred back to room 1408. The construction workers tear down the room's decorations, leaving Mike standing in the rubble. When he turns around, he sees daughter standing behind him. As daughter continues to beg him for a hug, Mike embraces her. He does not expect to go through the torment of losing her again in room 1408. Right after he hugs daughter, she dies and turns into ashes. Depressed, Mike does not see any hope in ending this endless disaster. In a flash, he returns to room 1408, which is intact. Right now, Mike has come up with a solution for this evil room. He is offered to either loop that 1 hour, or ends his life. However, Mike chooses neither one. He knows he must prevent ex-wife from entering this room. He creates a bomb with alcohol and a towel, and sets the room ablaze. This way, Mike triumphs over the evil forces that take so many lives. When ex-wife arrives at the hotel, room 1408 is already caught in fire. And Mike has been sacrificed. At Mike's funeral, grief-stricken ex-wife meets manager. She does not welcome him, but walks away with a lawyer. Manager has come to express his gratitude towards Mike's sacrifices. Returning to his car, he sees the burnt Mike in the backseat. In shock, he screams and looks back. Meanwhile, Mike is enjoying a cigarette at room 1408, which is banned due to the fire. Now, he could finally reunite with daughter in another world. This is Daniel CC Movie Channel. Peace out.